Good day to everyone. Thank you for stopping by. This is Health's View. I hope you're having a good day. I saw this video and I just thought I needed to share it. And before I go into that, please, if you have not subscribed to my channel, do please subscribe, like, share, click notification button so when we're on, you will be notified. Uh, this video really got my attention, especially having my natural hair, and then you use braid. I mean, you braid your hair with some of these uh, synthetic extensions, or you have on weave on and all of that stuff. It's important to hear this because it will help you make decisions. It help you really make decisions. Do you want to keep using this synthetic hair or weave or wig, whatever it might be, because of the effect, that they're now finding out. Some of the chemicals that are used to to process this hair, it's not healthy for us. It's not healthy for us. I have some two type of hair I still have. I'm thinking maybe I could quickly use them before I stop, or should I just stop completely? You're thinking, oh wow, but protection, thank God that He's been protecting us using all of this. But yet, now that the truth is coming out, we need to work with educate ourselves and then make wise decision. So listen to this video where this experts were discussing really in details of the effect of this hair. I might be stopping it, coming in and make some comment as we go, but it's important for you to hear. Let's watch it together.
But is it time to stop using it? A recent study published by Consumer Reports finds that cancer-causing ingredients as well as lead is present in several popular brands of synthetic hair. So, Dr. Imahirobo Ip, tell us, what exactly is in these products?
So synthetic hair is made of an ingredient called kanekalon. And kanekalon, interestingly enough, is made by one company called Kaneka. And what this study found, it studied 10 different packs of hair from different companies. And as you mentioned, it found really harmful ingredients in addition to the synthetic material. So one of them was lead. Mm-hmm. And in some of the packs, it had over 600 times the amount of lead that's allowable by certain states like California and Massachusetts.
Wow.
They also found an ingredient called benzene. Now, benzene is a highly reactive ingredient. It's actually discouraged that we use it in labs, and benzene has been linked to leukemia and lymphoma. The other thing it found was methyl chloride. See, these are just things we can't even pronounce.
Exactly.
So, methyl chloride is linked to lung cancer and liver cancer. So just a lot of really harmful ingredients.
Wow. So needless to say, this is very concerning. To the point, one of my friends texted me over the weekend and was like, so what are we doing about our braids, right? Point blank, because like, as I mentioned, we all got a pack or two of hair, many of us at least, lying around. And Shelly and Zena,
when I go to the hairdresser, and you want to braid your hair, they tell you the kind of hair to buy. They say, just go to the beauty supply, ask for caniculum. I didn't even know that caniculum was a chemical. That's how ignorant some of us are when we were, though, because now I got to know the truth, where we just go, they just tell you go and get this. You don't even know it's the chemical that is being used on it, and it's a dangerous chemical to the heads of people. Oh wow. Let's continue.
And I know that you see this a lot in your salons. How are you reacting to this news?
As Shelley said earlier, with the Crown Act coming, that opened up the door.
Yes, it did.
And then we're looking at it, the next generation, the younger girls are looking at it. So it's something that we have to pay attention to because everybody wants to have the long hair.
Yeah.
That's what we came up with, either the long braids or the long hair. It was the look.
Yeah.
So what the young girls see is what we're gonna really have to start promoting, especially in our salons, in your business. Because I always say it's the next generations that are going to come into us. And with me meeting you, Dr. Tip, coming to your office, I had the extensions, you know, and I had some situations, and with meeting you, you didn't tell me what to do. You suggested things that would work for me. No, I never thought I would cut my hair off like this.
I love it.
You know, but from your encouragement, between me doing my, you know, background check and from you adding to it, it made me realize it was time to go back to the natural hair. I'm not saying don't get relaxers because you have to do what's best for you, but you encourage the little girls and the young ladies like me to do what's best for our hair.
And it's interesting you mentioned this because there is a class action lawsuit pending from consumers who have purchased chemical hair relaxers and said the makers of these relaxers didn't know that there were endocrine disrupting agents in these that were indeed harmful. And so it really just is kind of like, what are we supposed to do with our hair at this point, right? Because for many people, braids have been a way to not only get that hang time, a couple inches, right? But also to just kind of set it and forget it and put your hair in a so-called protective style, right, Shelley? But is there any safe way to do this?
Well, like you said, they have different levels of like the VOC and the VOR inside of them. But I think the less is better, but I think they need to start labeling exactly what are in these synthetic brands of hair. Without synthetic hair, like half the people are not going to feel comfortable with styles or braids, you know, like you said, hang time. We love that extra length. But, you know, with all the chemicals in it being brought out now, it's kind of like scary.
And there are human hair extensions, right? We know this. There are plant-based hair extensions, but I got to tell you, a pack of this, for instance, is about $5 to $10 a pack. That plant-based hair, $36 a pack, and sometimes you often need more than one. So what do you say to people who still want to get those extensions, but may not be able to access or afford the more expensive and arguably safer ones?
I mean, one of the things that I'm trying to emphasize in my practice where I'm seeing a ton of hair loss is that hair health is part of our overall body health. You know, I personally lost one of my closest cousins to uterine cancer. And as I was thinking about this and researching this, one of the things that I realized is that, you know, she was 59 when she passed away, but I never saw her without braids, right? And so I started to think about how much could that have contributed? Otherwise, she was a vegetarian. She lived a very active lifestyle. And I think the problem is that none of this is regulated. I just want everyone to know that when it comes to medications, we have the FDA, the Food and Drug Administration. But when it comes to personal care products, that is not regulated.
And why is that?
I don't know. I mean, I think we need to acknowledge that these things are all very political, right? And I think we need to acknowledge that a lot of research and a lot of regulations have to do with where the money flows. Like, you know, and I think that, as you mentioned, with the Crown Act, that was the first time that there was kind of like, okay, from these bigger brands like Dove, let's recognize that Black women are purchasing so much. You know, it's a $19 billion industry.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And let's try to hold ourselves to a different standard of accountability to this population. But before that, there just wasn't really any accountability, I think.
And Zena, are you considering switching up the products that you use in your salon? Like, how do you talk to your clients about this?
Education is key. You know, you come into my salon, education is key. We don't sell synthetic hair at all in my salon. We only sell 100% human hair. And even I went to the beauty supply. I don't know when the last time you went into beauty supply. I purposely went. Most of the stuff in there is that Kanekalon and the magic fingers. And I looked, no ingredients. Like you said, on anything. I went through all of the packages of the braiding hair. Nothing was listed. And that's the thing. We're like misinformed.
Misinformed or no information at all. You know, there's no information at all. So when you look at it, you go to the salon, you just buy what you want to buy, and that's it. There's no information. Nobody's pushing for regulation, like you said, you know. And that's not good. I think with all this information, those who, especially those who has this beauty store, should begin to ask for more regulation. Especially if you use this hair, use the same hair, and you have a beauty store, you have to speak up like she's saying. She doesn't sell any synthetic in her salon, and then she educate people, which is good. Which is good. We have to be careful. We have to be careful. It's like, well, we don't care what happened to you. Mm-hmm. You know, they should be, it should be listed. This is what is there. With the names the lady called earlier, I can't even remember the names she called of the chemicals that I use. I can't even remember them. So if you see even if it's listed, you don't know what they mean. You might not even pay attention. Just like when you go to the grocery store, some of the names you see there, you don't even know what they are, what they can cause a human body. You have no idea. You just want to buy something, go home and eat.
That's a sign right there. If there's no ingredients, it's probably bad ingredients.
Yes.
So they'd rather not list it. But you did mention the food FDA. I just feel like even they're letting a lot of things slide with us eating. So if that's bad, you can imagine.
The standards are also really different in America versus other countries like Europe and things like that. So we have to be mindful of that.
Yeah.
But there's another group called the Environmental Working Group.
Yeah.
And they have a database called Skin Deep.
Yeah.
And so what you can do, if you can see the ingredients, you can type them in. You can type in the name of the product.
Yeah.
In my practice, I'm always trying to opt for things that are greener and cleaner, right? Which is not necessarily the same as organic. And I can explain why that distinction is important. But I was looking up the things and saying, okay, good, has its nice green light. One, they rank it from 1 to 10 in terms of harmfulness.
Yeah.
But one of the things that they found, the Environmental Working Group, was that 4,000 products targeted towards Black women were either moderately harmful or highly harmful.
Wow. I'm not surprised.
Yeah, and I mean, it just kind of, it's like, we can't have
win.
We can't win, right? Like it's striking because we know that Black women are not the only people who use hair extensions. I know you know this, Shelley, because you did Steven Tyler of Aerosmith hair. You added some extensions to his. I don't think they were the Kanekalon, right?
No, it wasn't. It was human hair.
It's human hair. But it is interesting, right? That time and time again we're seeing these things come up with this demographic. Now, I am curious from a business standpoint, right? Knowing that, Zena, you said you only use human hair in your salon. Shelley, I wonder if this is a consideration for you too. How does it affect the pricing when consumers are coming to you for services? Is it just kind of a bullet you have to bite and raising your prices in that way?
In all honesty, a lot of times people come with their hair. We don't sell hair at Salon Monet. We do provide with extensions, human hair extensions. But yeah, we have to incorporate it in the price of the hair that we purchase. And a lot of the hair is human, but I feel even human hair has a preserver in it as well that can be dangerous. Not as dangerous as this, but it's still pretty harmful for the hair and scalp and skin.
That years from now, right? Because it took a while to get to the point where we were having a study like this with these revelations.
Yeah.
Do you think years from now we could see a similar study regarding human hair extensions?
Yeah, I hope it's brought out even more. I talked about this probably 10, 15 years ago, but I think it's been 20 years that they've been putting this stuff in here. And now that it's affecting more women of color, and now that white women are getting into braided hair, Bo Derek look, I think it's really being brought to the forefront. Yeah.
And to that point, Zena, I mean, do you think it's, because you mentioned the Crown Act, of course, this was a congressional bill that was looking at not discriminating against natural hairstyles in the workplace, and you and Shelley were alluding to how it has catapulted into now looking at the harmful effects of these ingredients in the hair. Is this maybe a situation to where what Shelley is saying, as we see more demographics being affected by this, if we're seeing that maybe the extensions that white women wear in their hair are having some of these ingredients, that there will be more action taken?
I think with the extensions in general.
Pardon me there. I believe we should be allowed to keep our natural hair. Our natural hair is so rich. We could do so many styles Oh, we have ability to do so many stuff with our hair. You can control it, you can twist it, you could uh, um you could plait it, you could leave it afro, you could do just two cornrow, you could do so many different style with our type of hair. I've heard some people say, well, they're not allowed to come to work with their natural hair. Or if they have dreadlock, they're not allowed to come to work with that, or they were not accepted in a job that they were qualified for because of their hairstyle. I think that should be worked on so that everybody carry the type of hair that was given to them by God. Nobody choose any type of hair they wanted as they were coming here. It was God given. Every culture should be proud of the type of hair that they were given at birth, or given, sorry, not at birth, from birth. It is who God has, it's what God has given to every one of us. The texture He chose for everyone. We should allow everybody, whoever is in charge, should allow everyone to be proud of their own hair. That's who they are.
Everyone goes for the nicer hair, for the better quality. So this isn't going to stop it, but we have to help promote it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Help educate it. I feel like with the younger girls, you're going to get here because that's the look, but we can help them. We can educate them. With the demographics, I just think it's the communities too.
Yeah.
We can't underestimate the impact of money and the fact
definitely,
that
definitely.
there's so many of us who can't afford,
Yes.
human hair is expensive, even if you're using it for your extensions, let's talk about wigs, all of those things. It's really, really expensive, and
But I
it
feel-
requires a different kind of maintenance
Yeah.
than the synthetic hair, and I think that in part is why some people are afraid of it. You know what I mean?
I feel like human hair is a little bit more pricier, but it's reusable, right? Even braided human hair, excuse me, you can reuse it, but this hair you can't. You just have to toss it.
It's a one and done.
So I say to my clients, let's do the math. Do you want to purchase the human hair and you can use it? And we guarantee it for up to 6 months, our human hair, versus, other hair or synthetic hair or hair that you would buy at the beauty supply store.
And this would be, walk us through the reusing. I mean, would you wash that to take it out of, after you do one install, wash it and put it back in?
Yeah, so we wash it, we cleanse it thoroughly.
Cleanse it, yes.
Yeah. We're really into that. And then we condition it as well. And then we dry it in the dryer. And then we put the hair back into the hair.
I think too with the hair, because I go on levels. If they're my young girls, I have a brand that I refer to them. I have a brand for my single mothers. I have a brand for my college girls. I have a brand for my prom girls.
Which brand is it for each group?
Just each group, it depends on what you want. And for the women, I introduce them to my hair. I sell my own hair. It's the Purple Locks collection.
Yeah.
And just like you said, with my hair, it's guaranteed.
Yeah.
And when we install it, it's already cleansed, shampooed, conditioned. When you take it out, we do the same thing. We have resealable package to keep it moist, and you could use it time and time again. But like I was talking to you earlier, I know with me coming up, I came up on the Kanekalon. That's what my mother could afford. That's what we could afford. And I'm going into the store years later, and it's still that.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm not saying we could get better and we should get better. You have to get what you can afford. And it's trying times.
I want to say with the Kanekalon, one of the things that scares me is when you use it in little people.
I know.
Because we know that body surface area, they're actually absorbing more of these chemicals than we are as an adult.
Yeah.
And I think that, studies have shown, let's think about relaxers. I was 5 when I had my first relaxer. I was always tender-headed, and it was really difficult to do my hair. And I remember getting my first relaxer. Well, studies have shown if you get 2 relaxers, more than 2 relaxers a year, for 5 years, that increases your risk of uterine cancer by 50%.
Wow.
50%. This is a recent study out of BU. So, the impact of these things is huge. And when we're talking about endocrine disruption, that's not just like cancer, that's also diabetes, that's obesity, and those things in and out. Right, and reproductive infertility. We know that we have an epidemic of infertility, and we have an epidemic of fibroids in the Black community. Like it is a huge thing, right? And so no one has actually studied like what are the connections between these things, right? Is some of the hair care practices that we're using contributing to the health issues that we're facing? Even the hair oils I was seeing contain chemicals. We think this is natural. So I have this conversation every day about hair oils in clinic, right? And they're like, it's organic, it's a natural oil. And even those oils have chemicals that may not be good for us.
So is it about reading that ingredients list, or how do you reduce your risk, essentially?
I think one of the things that's really challenging here is that, as you mentioned, there are no ingredient lists, right? So I talk about this with skincare all the time. Like back in my day, you went to Clinique, you got your set, you washed your, and you felt very special. But if you go to that counter and you say, can I see the ingredients? They have to dig really far back. Most of the women who are selling these things to you don't even know where to find the ingredients. So I think that one of the challenges that we have are that there are no laws like we have with other things, right? Like food has to have a label. There are no laws that say, hey, these packages, these personal care products have to say what's in them. And I think that's why they've been getting away with this for so long,
So how do you know if hair is a risk, or if it's irritating someone? What kind of things can show up in a client or in a patient to know that the hair is problematic?
A lot of times I say to like my clients, because you buy so many different times, I'm like, put it on your skin. Because the first irritation will tell you, but some people, they'll get their hair braided and they'll be like, it was burning, it'll itch it. And I was like, why would you keep it? But they keep it because it looks good and they paid for it. But you have to pay the consequences after.
And people's hair will literally fall out after install. Another thing that we commonly do with this hair is you heat it up. So after you braid it, then you have the hot water and you dip it. And what we know about these ingredients is that they are made worse by heating. So benzene and the release of benzene is directly connected to heat. Right? So the heating process, like even if you're thinking about,
oh, that is something. I remember using a particular extension for my hair, braid hair. I was itchy. Any part it touched my neck, my back, it just itch. I have to always hold it as a ponytail, pull it around, tie it. That was all I had to do, because once it touched my skin, I'm itchy. I didn't even know it's because of the chemical. I just thought, oh, this hair, maybe it's not good for my skin. That was just all I thought it was. You have to dip it at the end of the braid or twist, whatever you did with the synthetic hair. You have to always dip it the end in the hot water, because that's how it stays longer. It stays firm, so it won't have to. The ends will lose out. Oh my word!
It for the hairdresser, and the hairdresser that's actually doing the treatment, they too are being exposed to these chemicals.
That's true.
Does that worry you?
Just think, you dip in the hot water, you're dipping the hair into a kettle into the hot water. The steam,
freezing it in, right, exactly.
And then the hair is wet and it's sitting on her scalp, the client's scalp, and it's slowly absorbing its way into her scalp. So I get it. I understand how it works.
So with all of that, I'm thinking about the person, myself included, who's saying, okay, do I stop using this altogether, or is there an alternative for me? Maybe it's going to buy the extensions. Maybe it's, lessening my use of the synthetic hair extensions, or going to buy the human hair extensions, I should say. What advice would each of you give a client if they came to you with that question?
Well, first of all, getting back to the hair, I feel that these packages of hair needs to be labeled of what's inside. That's the only thing that's going to make it better for us to use, like if we know what's in it or how much is in it, because I think it was one brand, Sensational, had over 1 million of levels of it, and it was just so harsh. So getting back to your question, I'm sorry.
What advice would you give to a client who's trying to make a decision about whether to stop using this or not?
Yeah, so I love consultations. I would just consult with her and say, what's your goal with your hair? Let's try and work like your natural hair. Let's try and wean away from so much of the synthetic hair until like her own hair grows out. So I'm all about like goals, hair goals, you know. And I would just wean her away from it, like I've done 90% of my clients with relaxers. I'm like, let's talk about hair and hair care and what relaxers do to your hair. So, and I show them that their hair can do just as much without a relaxer as with the relaxer. So I would wean them away from it.
And Zena, what about you?
I like what you said about the ingredients. I would try to educate people on digging deeper, getting more education on what's in these chemicals. Like when I went to the hair store the other day and I seen it. So now anyone who comes to me, I'll be like, okay, but we always discuss what type of hair you're going to use. Are you relaxed? Are you not relaxed? Which way do you want to go? Because I'm the same as you. I'm all about hair care. You know that in the hair journey of promoting your crown. So I would basically say, my thing's going to be dig deeper. Dig deeper into this and use what you know is going to be beneficial and not what you see the next person using or the Instagram model or the actress. Use what's going to promote better for you, because even now with the food labels, check your hair products, check your extensions, dig deeper into the labels like you have to dig deeper into other things. So I think that's going to be my thing. Like tomorrow when I go into the salon, I've already been promoting today anyway. So I'm going to be like, you guys, these women were amazing, and this is what Shelley had, this is what Dr. Let's add it together and put a new spin on it to educate, because that's what I'm going to promote. Educating on checking the ingredients. You can look at that hair. And I'm like you. I have my ponytails and everything. You can look at the quality. It's not even hair. It's nothing but
made out of plastic.
It's fibers.
Exactly.
So you don't know.
And Dr. Ip, lastly.
We've talked a lot about ingredients, so I think what I can contribute are what ingredients you should be looking for that might be harmful. So one of the things that some people know about, but parabens and phthalates, okay, we found that in women with uterine cancer, parabens and phthalates are in the uterine lining. So that's something you can look for. You want to look for certain dyes that are called PPD, paraphenyldiene, and benzene. Like I said, I don't think you're going to see lead, right? But we can start to educate ourselves about the type of ingredients that are harmful and how to actually read those labels. When I read them, they mean something to me. And I think we need to start educating our community about what the labels actually mean.
Well, Dr. Imahiro Ip, Zena, and Shelley, thank you all so much.
Thank you.
I hope you learned something from this teaching today. I was blown with so many points that these ladies were able to just give out there. And I hope you're able to, get enough information to make decisions as you go about your day or want to do your hair. I know maybe some people use hot iron, which I will be going into, but we're also told don't use too much of hot iron in your hair if you want to, want your hair to look different. You don't want your hair breaking at a point, so you want to look after your hair as well in that regards. I knew a lady, she was my hairdresser. Wonderful, nice lady. We got along so well. And I used to talk to her, invite her to my church. And well, she got sick. I didn't even know, because for a while I wasn't going to her dresser. So when I went again to her, I realized, oh, she shut down her. She's no longer had a salon owner. I'm thinking, what happened? Oh, she told her story. She had cancer. I think it was related. It was connected to her chemicals that she has exposed herself to in so many years, because that was her business. That was who she was. That's her business. I mean, people come and go. She was good. And she has to shut it down now. She said, "Oh well, she was the Lord Jesus healed her, so she used her salon for Bible study now." I said, "Oh wow, I haven't come to her, I haven't done my hair in a while. I just wanted to come and do something to it." And she said, "Oh, I don't do that anymore. I've shut down." She almost died, you know. So she shut it down, and it was there she met the Lord, and the Lord healed her. Now she's using her former place she used for salon for Bible study. And it was, I believe, because the doctor would have told her some of the things we've seen in you, like this lady was just saying that some people that would have been diagnosed with a certain kind of cancer, some of this chemical were on was in there. So they would have said something that said, "Oh, because of this, this is where it's from." She said, "Oh, yeah, okay, that's where I work. That's where she was working. That's where she breathing in and out every day." You know? So we have to be careful. Or if we have to do braids, maybe do it once in a while, you know, once in 6 months. I don't know. You have to make that decision. What's best for you? But if you can stop using it completely, that's the best. We have to look after our own beautiful, gorgeous, and enviable hair that God has given to us. Yes, it's an enviable hair that God has given us, a beautiful, beautiful hair that we have. And as we look after our hair, I mean, it's the best. It's the best. Our hair is the best. I don't care what anybody think about it or say. We have one of our hair is gorgeous, beautiful, goes with who we are. So we have to look after it. We have to look after it. But these people make money out of it, knowing that it's dangerous for some people. They don't care. They don't care because nobody's checking. No one is checking it. Whew. Anyway, I hope you learned something. Please leave us a comment if you are one of those who's changed to the natural hair, or you have never ever used synthetic hair, you have never used chemical in your hair. Please let us know how you've been maintaining your hair and what you would say to those who are using these things and how they can, you know, change and be proud of what they have. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.